Welcome back. It's a big day for baseball, a big day. You know why it's a big day. 19 years old. Konnor Griffin, 19 years old. Bam. Makes his major league debut. The Pirates had him up in the spring. We're going to take a look at his numbers in just a second. And he had a solid spring, pretty good spring, but they wanted him to start down the minor leagues so they could maintain some control over the contract. We'll get into that another time. But they brought him up a week into the season, and boom, first at bat today. We're going to take a look at it in a second. RBI double. Second at bat, a walk. And what a fantastic way to start your major league career. Let's take a look at it. We're going to take a look at what Konnor Griffin did today. It was really something. 19 years old, his family on hand. That was really special to see. All right, let's take a look. Here we go. Let's take a look. Here's what Konnor Griffin did today.
Do you believe it?
You.
Left center field, carrying and in the gap. Konnor Griffin in the second.
RBI double, first major league at bat. Fantastic. Fantastic. How cool is that? How cool was that? Konnor Griffin, 19 years old. And there are a lot of things to be excited about with Griffin. Yes, his offense, definitely. But there's also a lot there under the surface, not just the fact that he can hit and he's a solid offensive player. Let's take a look at some of his stats here. This was his stats. I mentioned he was here in the spring, his spring training time. But this is what he did last year in the big league, in the minor leagues. You can take a look between three teams. Look at this. 21 home runs total, 94 RBIs. But here's what really stood out to me. 65 stolen bases. 65 stolen bases. That's one of the things they really like about him. And also, he plays solid defense. Today, he was part of the double play, first double play turned by the Pirates this year. So fantastic. Great start. As I mentioned, that RBI double, but then he walked his second time up. Looks very composed and disciplined so far. But let's not get carried away. The truth is, he's going to struggle at times. He's only 19. A lot of talk today about the Pirates and the last time they brought up a teenager. That was Aramis Ramirez in 1998. I remember calling games for Aramis Ramirez in the minor leagues. A year later, he was in the big leagues playing for the Pirates. And he started out, you ready? He started out 0 for his first 20. And so there's always concern in that situation. You're always wondering, is a guy going to have immediate success or is he going to struggle? Because if a player struggles right away, that can be very difficult on their psyche, difficult mentally for them to feel that they belong, that they can do it. But they talk about Konnor Griffin with the 5 tools. They say his 6th tool, which is why he's wearing the number 6. They say his 6th tool is his character. And when you listen to him, when you see him, married, 19 years old, out of Mississippi, seems to really have his head on his shoulders. He reminds me of a guy I also covered in the minor leagues, Josh Hamilton. Hamilton came out of Raleigh, North Carolina. Fantastic high school star, drafted by the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Same thing. He spent a little more time in the minor leagues than Griffin did. And then he hit the major leagues, and then obviously Josh Hamilton had some issues, some personal troubles. But then he resurrected his career, came back, had an awesome career with the Texas Rangers before finally calling it quits and having some issues again. But that's what this reminds you. At least it reminds me whenever I see a 19-year-old come up. You think about a player like this. I always think about A-Rod, who came up young with the Mariners and had all kinds of hoopla surrounding him. And yes, he did live up to it. And Konnor Griffin so far, it's only one day. And as I said, he's going to struggle. So get that in your mind. He's not going to have an RBI double and a walk his first 2 at-bats of every game. But they've got him in there at shortstop, helped turn to double play. Great start for him. Pirates playing this late afternoon game matinee today. And it's special. So let's look back at this video a year from now, 2 years, 10 years from now, and we'll be able to say what kind of career did Konnor Griffin have. Always exciting. But again, his numbers in the minor leagues, just a short time. Very nice, very solid. Here's something I want to talk about briefly. It's only been 1 week. The season has been 1 week. And the reason I bring this screen up is it really has started with Mets fans after 3 games booing Bo Bichette, and Mets fans are apoplectic, thinking their offense isn't going to hit. If you look at X, if you listen to talk radio, Met fans are beside themselves, thinking their team is bound for a losing season, not making the playoffs. Let's look at this. These are some teams that you shouldn't get too high or too low. I mentioned the Mets, they're 3-4. It's a lackluster start. They play late tonight against San Francisco. 4 games in San Francisco against the Giants, 4 different start times. That doesn't happen often. Hope it's not too late for your bedtime if you're on the East Coast. But Yankees, 6-1. They're going to have a solid year. They're not going to play. This isn't going to be their clip for the entire year, but they're going to have a solid year. The White Sox, 2-5. Yeah. Okay. They're going to struggle again this year. The A's, I think the A's are going to be better than they've started, 1-5. I think the Marlins probably won't be as good as the 5-2 start. The Mets I mentioned. Brewers are a solid team, 5-1. And the Dodgers, 5-2. Yes, I think that one might hold because their starting pitcher is fantastic. They're starting pitching, the Dodgers. So I think that the Dodgers, the Yankees are going to play good baseball. They're not going to be 6-1. And in fact, last week, I said right here that I think the Mets are going to have a better record this year than the Yankees. The internet is forever. I sure hope that's the case. I can remember making another prediction a few years back here online about the Mets, and that one didn't come true regarding their previous manager. But let's see what happens. My point is, you can't get too high or too low after 1 week. It's a 162-game season. So whether things have started great or whether your team is struggling or whether a player is struggling. I mean, Bo Bichette is a great example. He's got this track record. And he's a player that any fan base should love because of the way he goes about his business, the way he plays hard. He's a hard-nosed player. He's fundamentally sound, smart player, does the little things well. But he gets off to this bad start in New York, and the fans are already wanting to ship him out. Like he's Vince Coleman or Juan Samuel or one of the other players that struggled. And that's not the case. This guy's young. He's established. The Mets are going to score runs. I do believe that. The Mets are going to score runs. And speaking of the Mets, how cool was it that Pete Alonso hit a home run the other day off of Jacob deGrom? Brandon Nimmo got to watch it from the outfield as those former Mets teamed up. But that's just a quick point I wanted to make. Don't get too high. Don't get too low early on. It's been 1 week. The season has been 1 week. You're going to look back at this video in a month or 2 months or 3 months. It's always funny. You get to the end of the season and what happened the beginning of the season, the first week, you don't even think of. You don't even remember. It's a soap opera that lasts all summer and into the fall. And that's what's great about it. There are going to be highs and lows. Players are going to get hurt. Players are going to come back. Konnor Griffin is not going to hit at this. He's going to struggle too. So keep that in mind. It's a long journey. You can't get too high. Can't get too low. Some of the best baseball men I ever was around, they would say that all the time. Managers specifically. When their team did well, they'd say, you know what? We can't get too high because tomorrow is a new day. And when things would go poorly, you just have to turn the page, start over tomorrow because it's a new day. Now, as I said, if you're one of these clubs, maybe the White Sox, it might be a long year. It might be a difficult season. The A's are going to be better than 1-5. They're going to be a better team than that. And so are the Mets. And again, the Yankees are not going to win 6 out of every 7. The Dodgers, I'm not willing to say yet. The Dodgers, right there at the bottom, they've had a solid start. They're going to have an outstanding year. But that's the way I see it. That's the way I see it. You can't get too high and too low. It's just 1 week. 1 week. It's not the NFL where you can come in there and be so intense. But Konnor Griffin, what he's done to start off his big league career, fantastic. We're going to see what happens over the course of the next games and weeks, and hopefully he stays and has a fantastic career. And this is just the beginning for Konnor Griffin. He's easy to root for, and we certainly are here at Sportscasters Club. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed already to the show. I mean, we do these videos. We like to have fun. Hopefully you will subscribe if you haven't. And we'll go from there. So again, my name is Rick. Thanks for joining us today. If we haven't met, we put out that video last week that people really seem to like about the New York Yankees. Were the 98 Yankees the best team ever? Take a look at that video and leave us a comment. Let me know what you think. All right. Again, this is Rick at Sportscasters Club. See you next time. So long. Bye-bye. Let's see if the Mets can come back tonight. Late game in San Francisco.